One time.
Stand up.
Baby. One time. It's got to be. Lego. Passing the prime.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Ashley Empowers. I'm Ashley, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Dating with Purpose. Dating with Purpose is a series that we created to showcase and highlight couples who are pursuing healthy relationships and keeping God first in their marriages. Today, I'm so excited to be interviewing Courtney and Brian Williams as they share their journey of dating with purpose. But before we get into today's episode, I did want to encourage you to take the free Are You Ready for Marriage quiz. This is a quiz my husband and I created to help you take an insightful look within to see where you are when it comes to the marriage preparation process. To take this free quiz, simply go to marriageprepquiz.com or click the link in the description box below. Okay, so can you start by telling us who you are and how you guys met?
So I'm Courtney Williams. It's my husband, Brian Williams. We've been married 4.5 years now. We made 4 years back in January. We have 4 beautiful kids. We're a blended family. I had a daughter and he had a son before we started dating, and then we got married. We had 2 kids together, so now we have 4 kids. We live in Houston, but I'm from Beaumont and he's from Louisiana. And so how we met was through Instagram, which is so 2020. But we have been following each other for a year or so. We always say now we still don't even know like how we got connected because we were in 2 totally different states, went to different schools. I think it's because I had friends that went to Grambling, so I don't know. But anyway, some type of way we had started following each other. I always noticed him. He would always post like pictures with his son. And so I saw that he was a father of 1. We both always liked each other's pictures, but neither one of us ever commented. And so one day I just randomly commented on one with him and his son. And literally, I think 5 minutes later, I had a message from him. And he hit me with the typical, "You're so beautiful. I've always wanted to tell you that." And it's pretty much been history ever since. We went on our first date the very next weekend. And yeah, we've been talking ever since.
Okay, so Brian, what were your thoughts DMing her? So you've been seeing her pictures pop up every now and then. What were your thoughts when you DM'd her?
What she doesn't know, for a while, she was actually my undercover, low key Instagram IG crush.
Okay.
Yeah. I would base to the point to where I would base every picture off of whether she liked it or not. I would literally, like, if I could get 1,000 likes, but if she wasn't one of the likes, the picture wasn't a success.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So when she finally commented, that kind of gave me the green light. While I was typing the DM, I wanted everything to be perfect. So I'm doing the typical type it, read it, no, I don't like it, erase it, then type it again. Then I finally pressed send. I wasn't expecting her to reply the way that she did. I was just trying to shoot my shot, and I guess it went in.
Okay, so Courtney, do you remember your response? He said you were beautiful. Did you say, "Okay, I see you with the green eyes"? Or
Right. What did I say back? Oh, I think I said something like, "You and your son are so cute." But I remember my response on my end, just like in person. I remember being like, "Oh my gosh," like, he messaged me. I remember sending a screenshot to my girlfriend at the time. I was in the kitchen cooking. I remember the whole scene, like in my robe and my bonnet on. And I just remember that moment like it was yesterday. So I was super excited. But I think as far as responding back to the message, I said something like, "Your son is so cute," or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, so from that time, you guys started your conversation on Instagram. How long did it take for you guys to be in a relationship, to be engaged, to actually walking down the aisle?
It went pretty quickly for us. One thing I always tell people that I liked about him, and they're like, "How did you know he was the one?" or "What was different about him?" is that from day one, we dated with a purpose. It wasn't like going back and forth on Instagram for weeks or anything like that. Like, he immediately got my number. We found out we were both going to be in my hometown in Beaumont the very next weekend, which was crazy because I think we were just like, oh, where are you from? And I said, oh, I'm from Beaumont. And he was like, oh, I'm going there this upcoming weekend for my younger cousin's high school graduation. And I was like, oh, I was going to visit my mom and my grandma and my sister because they still all live out there. We were just like, what are the odds? So he was like, I would love to take you out when we were out there. So he didn't waste any time. Like, he asked me on a real date. We went to dinner. Of course, a couple days before that, we exchanged numbers. We were texting throughout the week, like leading up to it. And like I said, after that first date, I don't think a day has gone by that we haven't talked. I think besides that one argument we got in, that we didn't talk for like 2 days and it felt like an eternity. But after our first date, we made it official, like just 3 months later, that we were exclusive. We were dating with a purpose. And then I want to say just 9 months after we made it official, we got engaged. And then after we got engaged, I think it was just like 7 months after that.
Wow.
We were married. Yeah.
So it was all under 2 years.
It was either 7 months till we were engaged and then 9 months we got married, or vice versa, but it's only a 2-month difference. So
Okay.
it was pretty quick, yeah, from beginning to end.
So Brian, how did you know Courtney was the one?
On the first date, we were sitting and talking, and one thing that I loved about her was the fact that she made her intentions from jump. Like, she made her intentions known. I am not trying to waste any time. We don't have any time to waste. I have a daughter, and most of my attention goes to her. And please don't pull me away from my daughter, because unless you're actually trying to date with a purpose. To be honest, I think that was one of the first things we talked about that day, that night. I DM'd her. She was talking about dating with a purpose. And that was one, I loved it about her. Her intentions were straightforward. I loved the way that she was with her daughter. And with me having a son, I am very family oriented also. So that I loved it about her.
Yeah. So Courtney, first off, I love that confidence that you had. You know, some people, when they have children, from what I hear, and they're dating, did you ever have a feeling, either one of you, that will I ever be able to meet someone, a quality person that would still be interested in me because I had a child?
Oh yeah, for sure. I talk about that a lot with other single moms that are wanting advice with dating. I just tell them, you still have your confidence, you still have your worth, you still have your self-value. I know a lot of single moms feel like they have to settle because there's like a reputation that you come with baggage or things like that. But I knew my worth, I knew my value. There was some situationships that I was in before we started courting that were just like a waste of time. And so I told him from jump, like, look, this has happened in my past, and I'm not trying to waste time. Like he said, I have a child that's involved. So if you're not serious, then just don't waste my time. And I told him that from jump. And I know a lot of my friends were like, girl, you're going to scare him away. I'm like, well, hey, I'd rather scare him away early than waste a bunch of time and we still don't work out like months down the line. But yeah, there was definitely times wondering if I would find a quality guy that I truly liked and didn't feel like I had to settle. Because yeah, like I said, there were situations before where I was trying to force it out of desperation, right, things like that, but I just knew deep down it wasn't it.
Yeah. So Brian, how did the dating process look different for you guys? So she was upfront in the beginning, she doesn't want to play any games because she's taking care of her daughter. Were you the type of man who would just let anybody meet your son? Like how did dating look differently since you did have a child?
I wasn't one that, I didn't bring him around everybody. I didn't want to bring him around everybody. It had to be around somebody that I actually saw myself being with. But to kind of piggyback off of what she was saying, a lot of people don't believe that men actually go through the same thing. Men who have children. I had dated a couple of women before I met Courtney, and I had one that flat out said that we can date, but I would never marry you because I want my husband to be the father of my first child. So we actually go through that also. So it was something I had to deal with, but
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet.
So just out of curiosity, did you guys both come from 2-parent households, or were you raised with single parents?
My parents divorced when I was 10. So from 10 on up.
What about you, Courtney?
Yeah, mine were actually never married. So yeah, I came from a single parent household. My mom got pregnant with me in college, so they were both young and in college at the time, and never ended up getting married. She did eventually get married to my sister's father, so I did have a time period where it was a 2-parent household. It was my stepdad, but it was still 2 parents in the household, but still, yeah, my biological parents were never married.
Gotcha. So when you guys decided to get married, how was it transitioning your 2 families into one? Are your children close in age?
They are. So they're actually only 10 months apart, which is
Oh, how
crazy.
fun.
Yeah. And people always tell us how much they look alike and they get along so great. So it's so crazy how that worked out. So that was perfect because when we first started dating and when we got comfortable, like introducing the kids with each other, just to be able to do things with kids around the same age, just kind of made it a little bit easier, like blending, especially in the beginning as well. We're able to like take trips and do stuff that was age appropriate for both of the kids because they were around the same age.
Awesome. And so one thing that sounds very important to Courtney and you expressing this to Brian was dating with purpose and you not wanting to waste any time. So when it came to you having that standard, did you also have a standard of waiting until marriage?
Yeah, so that was definitely something that I wanted to do, that we both wanted to do this second time around. We both felt like we got a second chance at love, a second chance to do things God's way. We're both believers. We were both Christian. We were both raised in the church, but just somehow along the way, just went a different direction. And so that's where both of the kids came from. But we knew this time around that we wanted to try our absolute hardest to honor God in our courtship and then while we were engaged. And I will say it was not perfect. It was not easy. A lot of people say there's like a fine line and people kind of tiptoe around that line. So there was definitely like, trying to find like boundaries and things because we're human.
Yeah.
And so we definitely like struggled with that at one point, but we just got to the point where we were like, okay, look, like we know where this is going. We know this is going to marriage. So let's try our hardest to stick with like our original goal when we first started courting. But yeah, we're both Christians, so that was definitely something we wanted to do, was just honor God with this second chance at love.
Yeah. And so Brian, was that hard for you as well? Or were you just like, how did you keep yourself encouraged?
Right. I did a lot of working out. I
Okay.
think that was probably the most in shape I had ever been within that year period.
It's so funny because was it one of your uncles, or I think it was Eric, your goddad, or someone joked with him and they didn't know why, but they were like, we knew it had to be a girl and how much he was going to the gym and like working out.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
exactly my godfather. They noticed that I had been going to the gym a whole lot and I was actually getting bigger. No, it was Jimmy's dad.
Oh,
Yes.
Jimmy's dad.
And
Okay. Well, that's
I think that was
awesome.
the most in shape I had ever been.
Yes.
And I will say one thing we haven't mentioned, I'm sorry, is we were long distance. So that helped a lot too. We were long distance literally until the week we got married. So we may see each other once or twice a month, but that definitely helped with temptation and all that good stuff as well.
Okay, well, so being long distance, how was your first year of marriage? A lot of people explain that first year as it just being like the worst because you were long distance and then you go from seeing each other once or twice a month to living with each other every single day. How was that experience your first year?
I think that the biggest issue for us was blending the family. We thought it would be an easy task, but we had our struggles at the beginning as far as blending. I think that was the word. That was the hardest part of the first year. We did have our struggles because a lot of the issues that we had the first year is because of blending the family.
Wow.
Yeah, and I will say, of course, there was just the adjustment of being together every day. That was more so just like small annoyances, like you didn't do this when we were dating, and we were just like, oh, it's because we weren't together every day. But just like little, habits that we have that you don't see when you're courting, especially if you're long distance, that you all of a sudden see once you're together every single day. So definitely was an adjustment for me as well. I can kind of be a loner, I guess you could say, like after work and a long day and like, tending to my child. I love like me time and just like relaxing and he's more of like a cuddler. His love language is touch, whereas like I love his presence and us being in the same room, but you can be doing your thing, I can be doing my thing. So that was definitely an adjustment for me too when we first got married. Was okay, you did your 9 to 5, you did your stuff with your child. Now you have to kind of give your husband some attention too as well.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, being that you guys being entrepreneurs, did you find that one of you were more focused or successful than the other? And if so, how did you guys navigate getting on the same level when it comes to entrepreneurship?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like somehow that always happens with couples. You kind of have the one that's more structured and like the go-getter, and then you have the dreamer, more free-spirited one. And so I'm definitely like the more structured one. I started this whole journey with my blog about a couple years ago, or actually around the time we got engaged, just when I started sharing my story of going from a single mom to a blended family and all that good stuff. And that's when I really saw like things take off with my blog, which wasn't a goal of mine, but my story just, I guess, resonated with a lot of women, and things just started to grow from there. And so it kind of started off as something that was like my thing. I started sharing my story. He's more of a private guy as well, kind of more introverted. He's outgoing and fun, like once he gets to know you, but I'm more of like the extrovert, just naturally. And so anyway, when I started like sharing our story, it was kind of a my thing, but then it kind of turned into a family thing because it involved him. We started getting opportunities like this, or people wanted to interview us, and magazines and different things like that, and the social media. So it definitely was an adjustment period of like him seeing like, this is my calling, it's something I'm passionate about. Now, thankfully, as we all know, God will take your purpose and then also provide for you with it. So it's turned into a business, a legitimate business, a lot of work that goes into it too. And so that part was an adjustment too, just like number one, him getting on board with it, me being like more structured with it, and then also like him really looking at it as like a business and like, understanding this is why I'm at my laptop until like midnight, which I don't try and do as much anymore, but this is why I'm on my computer or my phone all day and different things like that. So yeah, there was definitely a learning curve on the road to entrepreneurship. Both of us are like first generation business owners. And so it's just figuring out a lot on our own.
Yeah. And so, Ryan, has it ever been difficult for you supporting her, or has it been kind of you just being really flexible?
I'll be honest, at the beginning, I did give a little pushback. One thing, as you see, we are matching. I'm not the biggest fan, but a happy wife, right?
Wait, you're not the biggest fan. Courtney has y'all matching in
right.
every picture.
I know, yeah. He's a trooper.
from the beginning. So yes, I gave a lot of pushback at the beginning to the point because I would see so much money going out of the account for different outfits and different having to pay the photographers. I was like, you putting out all this money, but we're not getting anything back. So I gave a lot of pushback, but once I saw things actually start to blow up and start to progress, that I didn't give as much pushback. I don't know if I'll ever be okay with matching, but
I love it. Yes. Well, as we wrap up, if you guys could do things over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Yeah, I wouldn't. There was hard times, things haven't been perfect, but just to see the progression that we made from beginning to end, there's nothing I would change. Both of our beautiful kids that we had before that we got together, even some of the struggles we had in the beginning with blending our family and now on the road to starting our business, I wouldn't change any of it. I feel like it's really kind of strengthened our faith and built a good foundation, so that we, can't be shaken. When small stuff comes up now, we're kind of just like, whoa, it rolls off of our shoulder instead of us thinking like the world is over. We know that we'll get through it. We'll get through it and make it to the other side.
And I believe, kind of like faith, a marriage that cannot be tested cannot be trusted. So I believe that the trials that we've gone through actually have strengthened us for the task that we have ahead. So I wouldn't change anything that we.
I love it. Well, let's just wrap up really quick with a couple rapid fire questions that you guys have to answer quick.
Okay.
So okay. Snickers or Twix?
Snickers.
Okay. Walmart or Target?
Walmart.
Okay. Bathe the kids or wash the dishes?
Bathe the kids.
Okay. Weekly date night or a monthly vacation?
Weekly date night.
Okay. Sons or daughters?
Daughters.
Okay. So for those of you who want to for those people watching who want to follow you guys' journey and keep up with you, and where can they find you?
So on my Instagram is Court N Williams, and then I also have a blog. It's my full name, CourtneyNWilliams.com.
And on Instagram, I am Brian with a Y, BRYAN .A.Williams. That's Brian, BRYAN .A.Williams.
Okay, and I will leave all that information down below. And Courtney has an amazing ebook on influencing. If anyone is interested in getting into the business of content creation, and Courtney is going to be teaching at the High Earning Housewife virtual bootcamp this year on influencing. So it's going to be amazing. So I'll be sure to link all of their information down below. And again, thank you guys so much for sharing your journey. It's been amazing just hearing about it. So hope you have a
Thank you so much for having us. We had a blast. It was good talking to you, girl.
Yes.